champions because, again, they needed to grow in the past 3 months given how much of a struggle they had in recent international championships. I'm talking about IESF Bali, I'm talking about MPLI. So now they're trying to redeem themselves.
Definitely redemption is the king here, well, queen here, mind you. But from the other side, oh my goodness, you know, going into Estes, you're expecting Wise to go for this very tanky frontline. It's up to RRQ to realize it. Banning away the Barats, banning away the Fredrin. I think these are the top bans from the side of RRQ. But Blacklist bans away the Kadita.
They ban away the Kadita, understanding that they are susceptible to just getting comboed, getting dove in the back line. And honestly, it does seem like RRQ has so much aggression already available. The last thing the Blacklist wants is to deal with a very elusive roamer or mid lane like the Kadita. So right now, Barats has been banned away as well. For RRQ, with so much mobility, with so much burst potential, if they can deny the tankier members, the beefier heroes from the side of Blacklist, they can get success in that early game.
Yeah, and again, on screen, it's the Filipino sniper himself, the M3 Grand Finals MVP, Oheb, with a very powerful quote. Words of, I'd say, competition for the King of Kings. Good luck. We will destroy you. Well, it's going to be tough because, again, the first 3 picks from RQ already very strong. Very rarely do we see a lineup that has the Joy and the Fanny in the first phase. Now, wrapping up their draft. What's Skylar to pick? There goes the Harith. What's left?
Ooh, with the Harith banned down, I mean, there's still potential. Depending, it's so difficult right now because it really depends on what you want to go for. We've seen that, for example, the Lunox can come into the gold lane, but that depends, right? Are they going to try and go for early game burst damage? Because then it makes a bit of sense if they need a bit more magic damage as well. But otherwise, they might just go with something a bit more safe, something with some range, something with a bit more kite potential.
Jace, are you thinking this should be the Fredrin? Because if not, I can expect Blacklist to just snap pick it as soon as we come back.
Yeah, definitely. If this ban is not a Fredrin, it will be snap picked by the side of Blacklist. But that's also another thing. RRQ has also considered the fact that the Beatrix might know it's going to be the box that gets taken away instead. I like what RRQ is thinking as well. Yes, there could be a Fredrin pick going in, but I think a Beatrix will be better, in my opinion, for the side of Blacklist. But it's gonna be the Brody instead. This is unusual coming off of Blacklist.
They're keeping him thinking. And again, the Brody is pretty solid when you have Joy in your face, when you have a 1-1 in your face.
Joy in your face.
You can expect that the baby alien, Fanny, Albert, will be going wherever he can find Oheb or Haji. I mean, even Oh My Venus.
I mean, it's a good pick if you want to try and kite back, have a bit more self-protection, right, on that marksman role that's usually very vulnerable. But now, that means that for RRQ, they can count on the fact that there's very limited amounts of DPS coming in from the side of Blacklist. They have burst damage, so pick-up potential, but in the longer drawn-out fights, this Hilda might just be too beefy to whittle down, to melt down by Blacklist.
I think another thing that we also have to talk about is Wise's jungler. It is going to be RRQ that locks in the final drop, a Faramis and a Claude. Something that could counteract against the heal of Estes, but there you go, a Fredrin finalizing the drop of Blacklist.
They didn't need to rush the Fredrin. I mean, if the writing is on the wall, you know what's up. This is the right timing for it. Now that we've seen both lineups, I have to say, the Faramis in mid for RRQ Hoshi, it's going to be very 50-50. Like, if it works amazing. It makes sure that they undo the damage that possibly the sustained Estes brings to the table. But if not, it's just going to act as another possible re-engage.
I think another thing that RRQ could play this is that Faramis is not meant to basically win the lane. It is usually the Fanny that, you know, wins the mid lane by playing aggressive in the mid lane very early on.
So a lot on the shoulders of the baby alien.
Yeah, man.
Arashi, what do you think?
Ooh, I think in the early game there's so much potential. It's such an oppressive composition. They are tanky, they have decent amounts of base damage, and they have a cult altar to facilitate crazier plays. If Blacklist does not curb that aggression, they might be looking at disaster.
Let's go into the Land of Dawn for Game 1 in this best of 5. Let me hear a big Viva RRQ and break the code. Let's make sure that our athletes get the best experience. Game number 1, RRQ Hoshi versus Blacklist International. Eyes on the early rotations. Where are junglers starting?
Welcome to Mobile Legends.
It seems like both teams are trying to make sure that their jungle is safe. Then of course on that Hilda, will be attempting to try and get a bit more value, abusing that passive coming in from the Hilda.
Yeah, so it feels like it is going to be a mirror matchup. Of course, the Fanny will prioritize the purple buff first, but instead of seeing Vin, hard invading on the enemy side, it is Vin on the protective side. It's something, as I mentioned as well, All My Venus will need to stay around the mid lane, need to make sure that Haji gets to level 4 as quickly as possible.
Yep, and for the first minute, 45 seconds, I'd say Vin could be a little more aggressive, and I guess that's why Haji and Oh My Venus are staying here. That's the reason why they're trying to protect Wise and get him his buffs before, again, the much faster Albert can come in and try to contest.
A lot of that.
Situation right here, but Vin actually gets jumped on, he gets stunned, won't be enough in this early game, and this is the problem, right? They don't really have any pressure in the side lanes to try and facilitate Vin, trying to just disrupt Vice's farming pattern. And being on a Fredrin, he can hold his own 1v1.
Yep, I mean the best part about Wise going for the Fredrin jungler is that he's unfazed about the damage coming up from Vin. And not only just that, because All My Venus is sticking around the mid lane, there's a lot of heal, but hold on a second, Albert's already spinning All My Venus! First blood! Going over to the RRQ National!
Hate it when we're right, but this is what RRQ exactly needs to do. Small lead in a minute and a half, about 500 gold, but that's what you do with a lineup like this.
We thought that the target was going to be Haji. It is Oh My Venus. Bursted even through the ages. That is unreal. Early game damage coming in from RRQ. It's not even level 4.
Yep, something to note, we didn't see this in the prep or the draft going into this. A battle spell we rarely see in game, at least in the professional scene. Yes, indeed, folks, that is Oh My Venus on the Aegis. Oh, something down bottom here.
I feel like it's just about Aegis, making sure that if Oh My Venus is able to survive even longer to sustain against the burst damage coming up from Albert, so that he could just spread out the heals. But something very interesting is Oh My Venus is one that lost his life first. Haji only just hit level 4 at the same time. A lot of pressure coming in, Albert coming to spin, but he will not be able to find anything as well. And we'll pause the split for now. It's coming in, possessing Vin for now. On the middle, but here comes the call at the same time. Haji in the back line, running down the better air strike, but will be able to push Vin out of their jungle.
Oh, that's a 1 for none. And that's RRQ with a man down. They're pushing Clay away as they start this first turtle.
Yes, Edward. Oh no, he's actually putting a lot of pressure against Albert, but Albert's actually spinning around. Look at the... oh no, Edward just managed to push Albert away, giving Wise that turtle. That is absolutely fantastic.
RRQ is going to get something back. Edward is the main target here.
Edward!
Going for the kill. Edward to secure it. And it's still over. Both teams duking it out.
And they're duking it out. It is all going. Oh no, Albert, he got caught right inside the turret, inside the brush as well, but he's able to cable away. Blacklist International destabilized, but RRQ on the other hand, they're not taking prisoners.
Ooh, it's just a tough situation right here, and Albert is the one that needs to back off.
Feather airstrike.
Both trading, but Feather airstrike will not be able to make a big difference. And I think Wise actually stole the orange.
Yes, he did. Looking at the board here, Blacklist have gotten a small lead. Again, 3 minutes and a half. We're about a minute and 15 from that next turtle. Again, let's talk about the emblems here, because again, even the battle spells have gotten already pretty tricky. Rashi, talk us through.
I mean, look at all that movement speed being prioritized. Rotations. That is what both these teams like to use to get an advantage. And unfortunately for RRQ, early on in this game, I don't think the Faramis Cult Altar can give you that much value because you don't have the same amount of damage that you can dish back out. Whereas for Blacklist, having Haji on that Farsa just allows them to just destroy RRQ when they're clumping up in the jungle earlier. So they need to wait for a bit more power spikes to ensure that aside from having a second life, they have the damage to back it up as well.
Yeah, and already, it looks like RRQ are off tempo. It seems like Blacklist's response to this hyper-aggression in mid has found its match. Wise gets pulled very precariously because, again, bigger presence from RRQ here in the mid. But Turtle is spawning in the top side. Oheb pops a torn apart memory. Oh, I'm loving Blacklist positioning right now.
I love Oh My Venus positioning. In fact, being in the mid lane means that you could actually rotate all the way up top, all the way up mid, all the way bottom. In fact, even the jungle, this global map presence of Oh My Venus is there. Even with Albert's Fanny, wasn't able to match.
This is why it's just so difficult. RRQ, they want to go for pickoffs, they want to abuse Albert on that Fanny with that early game damage, but when Blacklist clump together, fight together as a team, they have the Faramis as a quote-unquote counter, but it's not working right now.
The better airstrike will be able to land on Albert as well. Albert will be able to cable all the way out back to safety, but that is a very low jungler. Albert needs to go back and reset. Blacklist, they have total control for now.
Oh, they go ahead and start it.
R7.
It's only R7 first to the scene.
R7, jipping, zapping around, Skylar coming in, but it's going to be R7. as you will be able to come in. Finn will also fall in the hands of Wise for now, but R7 look at this joy, super annoying, and Hoshi, great machine, will also fall. Edward right now trying to delay, trying to actually put out some damage, but look at Skylar is actually pushing down the turret at the same time. Kane already here, but Edward possesses R7 right there. But what are you going to do? There's a Skylar right there, right ready for you to pop. Edward, I'm a little bit afraid of you. You have to run away, my boy. But Edward, turn it around. R7, oh my God, so much time bought by Edward.
A long-form trade there by Agent Zero, buying time, buying map space for Blacklist International, keeping that fumble in, I guess, recoverable space, and they push down bottom. Arashi, how did Blacklist recover?
They were just able to actually buy so much time in that fight, and their members were able to come back from the fight despite being taken out earlier on due to the big combo from RRQ. This is what RRQ needs to be very careful about. They have a lot of damage, but they need to make sure that they do not allow Blacklist to have multiple rotations of their ultimates.
Finn managed to catch MLBB the touch above the ultimate for now. It's going to be MLBB against Gondola, but here comes out with the assassination. He finds the queen, and we'll be able to zip and zap out of the way. RRQ on the roll right here in the KDA.
Arashi, that's Oh My Venus' third death away. V-Wise, of course, if you take down V-Wise, is going to respond. Oh, they're looking for something.
He's trying to look for something. Skylar will be able to beat MI all the way out. Edward, I don't think there's any kills for now they can do. Blacklist, they managed to stabilize for now.
Arashi, talk to me.
It's so dangerous right now, man. RRQ, I think once they have a bit more items, they can start being a lot more menacing to Edward, to Oh My Venus, and Wise. This is what we've seen again and again. Very solid damage dealers from back far away, and 3 very solid tanky members in the front. This is what Blacklist is working with right now, and unless RRQ has the right items, for now, Blacklist still has the advantage. They can still bully RRQ away from the objectives.
Yep, but it's going to be Bin that engages all the way. First Tay coming in, but it's going to be Edward. Oh no, he stops Albert right now. It's going to be Retro Battle, but it is won by Wise. And now, then there's going to be Blacklist going to try to do something. R7 all the way in the back line, looking at Edward. He's actually super tanky right now. The bench is doing pop. Wise going in, the better extra going in. R7 needs to run away, and he managed to run away from the artillery strikes.
Something tells me this is the ideal engage that Blacklist was looking for maybe 2 or 3 minutes ago.
Yes.
That's what they wanted to do in that other turtle up top, and now they're able to finally execute.
They're able to pick off a win in that jungle fight, and afterwards you can see that everyone just jumps on the opportunity. RRQ, they are forced again and again to back away, but now that Skylar has the golden staff, it's going to be something that Blacklist needs to keep in mind, right? They are working against the clock right now.
And with this 1,000 gold lead, their stats against Indonesian teams at M4 are looking a little better, right? The small lead in the mid game, 8 minutes in, 1,000 gold ahead. They're currently sitting at 0-6 against Indonesian teams. Their fate may change right here.
They have a chance to just turn it around, but look at this EXP lane. It's just constant battling, and keep in mind, R7 was able to be so tanky there due to that vengeance. This will be a lot more annoying the longer the game goes. Once he has the concentrated energy, the other sustain items, it's going to be near impossible for Blacklist to try and kill him without locking him down.
Yeah, locking down, I think from the side of Blacklist right now, they're able to stabilize. Oh, man, he gets caught out. It's a whole gang, but Colors are coming in just in time at the same time. Colors are all the way in. Let's go, the will not be able to do more than enough for RRQ to slowly take down Blacklist. It's gonna be just Wise, it's gonna be just Edward, and now Skylar, he gets caught by EDMI out. R7 on the chase right here. Wise looking in the middle. Edward just trying to kill, and then he will try to possess. Going in his basement, he got on top of R7. It's just a slow death for the joy.
Agent Zero gets his man, down goes R7. Something tells me, as we get more into the late game, there will be a cap, there will be a limit for RRQ's aggression, and then more and more Blacklist can find their way into this game. 10 minutes in.
The longer the game goes, the more healing Oh My Venus will have, but also the more damage RRQ will have. So it's going to be a bit of a balance. It all comes down to execution. That blazing duet was just so devastating, and if Blacklist keep coming together, that's dangerous.
Albert coming in, would not be able to do the retro battle. Albert needs to tap out for now, and it's going to be Blacklist going to be engaging on top of RRQ for now. It's going to be Bin, and first of all, the Haji, the heal coming in, managed to sustain for Blacklist to fight.
Down goes the M-Series all-timer who hit his 500th assist in the M-Series overall win, sitting at 0 5 and 5. The Hilda's doing its work, right? Looking at its items, he has physical defense in the Antiquitas. He's building up towards magic defense. But I gotta say, against Blacklist International, you're really only building against OHEB for physical. What's going on here?
Well, they want to make sure that their main kickoff tool, right, the tournament memory cannot be used.
Strike! Albert gets deleted right off the map as he tries to get his purple buff, and that's not a good timing for RRQ.
Arashi, back to the point.
Back to the point, man. The tournament memory is the main tool they're using right now. Yes, the better airstrike is going to be difficult to deal with, but R7 now trying to deal with the whole team of Blacklist alone.
Yeah, but not just that, it's going to get denied by the Oh My Goodness actually here, but the Early Vengeance actually trying to next shot. Hey, coming in with the call, making sure that the Joy stays alive just a little bit. Bin, he finds the back line, and he wipes out Haji at the same time. There'll be the trade for R7, but oh my goodness, the damage starting to come for RRQ. Blacklist is trying to crack the bottom lane open.
Oh, they pull that way! No. And the split comes in right on time. The baby alien has to respond to the lane up top, and just like that, 11 and a half minutes in, 5K gold lead, Blacklist International turning the map red.
It's such a chaotic game, but at the end of the day, Blacklist are the ones with the map pressure advantage. Now, once the lords become even more important, they can use this to set up traps for RRQ, even though in the way, right, RRQ has a better vision game, considering that they have a very strong front line. Let's take a look by the instant, at the instant replay by TikTok of that fight. Begun with R7 just going in alone, but afterwards Vin was able to locate Haji in the midst of all the chaos. Unfortunately though, it's all traded in for several turrets in the process.
Every single time, if it's Vin for Haji, that's worth it for RRQ Hoshi. But if R7 has to come along, that bundle package is way too much.
Yeah, the burst damage is something that Vin has to be careful about. Not the real one manipulation, mind you. The fair the airstrike, you can see Vin has to tap out.
Yeah, and just looking at the items, Arashi, I just noticed, man, the 4K gold lead, you can see a lot of it on the junglers. You can see it on Albert, you can see it on Wise. There's almost, what, 1,500, 2,000 in between them.
Oh, here we go. Joy Vengeance instantly deleted. That is a very scary jungle for RRQ to be in.
This is the traps you were talking about with that vision game. But look at the split push coming in from RRQ. They're trying to find value despite being on the back foot. And keep in mind, on the point of items, there is a Necklace of Durance already rushed to be built by Clay, but Blacklist, they seem to just going for the base.
Better airstrike will be used to zone on RRQ right now. Albert's trying to make a play. He has to recall back the base for now. It's going to be Skylar. Oh no, he gets sponsored by Wise, and that would be a monster kill. Give it over to the Blacklist jungler. And Blacklist right now, they're in the fight. What can you do when you don't have a damage dealer? Wise will say, no more Clay.
1-for-1, Skylar for Haji, and just like that, Blacklist makes a beeline for the Lord. Arashi, can RRQ contest?
Without Skylar, it's going to be a very tough process. He is the main damage dealer for the BTM members. Unless they can pick off OHEB or Haji, it's going to be very, very difficult, but Albert seems to be trying to make an attempt.
Vin, just check in, and just like that, Blacklist, let's go. It looks like they want to make sure that it's a clean go. They want a full maybe 3v5, 2v5 if they can, but with the way RRQ Hoshi are finding Haji and threatening the kill on Oh My Venus, it's not so easy.
It's not really easy at all. Skylar could just BMI right in and all try the Blazing Duet, but then there's the Menace, right? Oh My Venus, the thorn against RRQ side.
This is the difficult part as well. Blacklist, they are content just trading out damage because they have Oh My Venus on the Estes that can allow them to sustain through most of the damage. The same thing cannot be said for RRQ. We have to rely on a Cult Altar, right? A more decisive use of an ultimate to try and gain advantage. Vin can sustain with the shield and the healing coming in from the passive, but it's 1 compared to 5, and for Blacklist right now, they have all the map pressure in the world to work with as well, but right now, Albert is the one that's far away from this Lord. They might just rush it.
Different airstrike going in at the same time. It's going to be the Lord that will be forgotten about both of these two teams. Call already committed, but then the damage coming off from Clay, and R7 will be able to find it back by Woodie's only answering it away. Wise will be down, trying to actually do something, but he won't be able to do anything for now. R7 trying to tip his ass. The ultimate was already activated, but now he got it for the assassination, and that's the jungler gone. The jungler advantage going to RRQ.
OHEB for Vin was a good trade, but now
Skylar.
it's all going down.
No, that's not a very good sign. RRQ does have the Retribution battle right now. Stop the Blacklist trying to make something happen. They need to try to land the Retribution at the very, very right time. He has the Retribution, and he gets the Lord.
The baby alien scores it, and you hear the Kingdom Roar. RRQ running away. Edward and Oh My Venus trying to look at least for a trade on the map. Blacklist still with a small lead, but RRQ Hoshi scores a Luminous Lord.
They have caught up, and man, the building literally was shaking at that Lord take. That was way too close for comfort, and now Blacklist make a play for the purple. It does seem like Clay will be able to secure that buff, but now we have a bit of downtime, and let's talk a bit of the items yet again. Glowing Wands have been purchased by the side of RRQ, knowing that there's just way too many big dudes on the side of Blacklist International. But on the other hand, look at Haji. That's a lot of burst damage, Divine Glaive as well, and with the truncheon, there's a potential for an outplay to happen here. RRQ need to be very careful in calculating how long the cooldown is on that item.
Oh, I think they have eyes on where Edward is. Haji pops a Feathered Air Strike, pushing away Vin. And this is what's so hard when you're Blacks International, right? You have to manage the waves because Albert's much faster than a majority of you. And then now you have to play honest. So far, Blacklist International have kept a small lead, but now RRQ Hoshi, they've done so well to recover. The map is blue.
I think it's the other way around. It's RRQ that's a little bit behind this goalie. They actually slowly claw all the way back, but it's going to be why R7 getting a bit of damage for here. Wise in the thick of things. It's going to be Oh My Venus slowly healing up Wise. Blacklist International, they defended their throne for now.
This is the limitation of this team composition. Sure, it's a lot of damage. Sure, in a big fight, it has so much combo potential. But when you're up against a Farsa, there is no high ground and there is no marksman to try and whittle down these turrets. So RRQ will be very reliant on winning fights with the Lord and then using the Lord to crack open the base of Blacklist. Now, knowing this, Blacklist can very easily adjust and look for traps, opportunities, and loopholes to try and punish RRQ.
Wise playing with fire. R7 comes in.
R7, Haji has to fly away, but it's going to be R7. Activating the open in play. He's all the way in the back line. He's launching alone. Play. Managed to touch go out there just in time, but it's going to be Oh My Venus actually desperately healing. The fight. It's using the mid-lane. It's element fight. They get taunted. Wise. Unstoppable. Unkillable. Scala and snap out. Haji managed to take the element as well. Elwin is not going to allow her to run away. OM is there to slide down Clay.
The only problem is they left that wave up top. But again, a man down is a man down. Albert, 30 seconds away from spawning. Can he make it to this Lord fight? Are they going to start it immediately?
They can just go for it if they really want to try and deny Albert, but that's still a risky play against RRQ's composition right now. They seem to be going for that mid-base turret, but look at Clay looking for an opportunity. This might be disaster for them.
Oheb going in. Clay was actually going to activate the Shadow Stampede just a little bit, try to zone it away, but Blacklist just needs to love to have that mid lane, and now RRQ's base cracked open.
That's permanent damage in mid, something that RRQ constantly have to tend to, and that's what Blacklist is avoiding. That's why they sent Edward back home. That's why Haji's paying attention to top lane, and Lord is a clean 5v5.
I think RRQ just need to execute the fights cleaner here, because earlier there's a lot of burst damage, there's a lot of potential, but when you funnel in one by one like that, it allows Blacklist to deal with the threats individually. Whereas if you come at the same time, the Fanny, the Hilda, the Faramis, as well as the Claude, they have to actually ration out their crowd control, and maybe one of them will pull through and be the deciding factor for RRQ Hoshi.
Yeah,
so they have to be very careful.
Something tells me there has to be some specific way of cascading your skills for RRQ Hoshi to get it right. Now, Vin trying his luck. R7 coming in with an angle.
Vin actually wants to fight as well. The call to activate at the same time. Haji's better air strike, trying to provide some high ground, some protection for Blacklist International. They shove RRQ out of the team fight.
Just didn't work out. Now Edward on R7. Let's see the relentless one, not letting go. Team captain, always pushing forward, leading with boots on the ground. This joy, 4-4 and 6. That is the KDA of a true warrior. R7 wants to force the issue, and look at that wave down bottom.
It's a huge wave, and R7 is pushing it out again, but Blacklist react almost instantly. R7 can flank right here. He does have a Divine Glaive. That's a lot of damage available.
Vin will be the one that falls. It is going to be the Giant are going in the back line. Oh my Venus! He's actually trying to kill, but will not be able to do so. I think it's one fall. There's no damage in on the side of Blacklist anymore. RRQ, they will try to fall this fight. Oh my goodness! The Queen will fall, and now RRQ full control of the map.
That was the exact order that they were trying to pull through the past 5-6 minutes.
That's it.
And now RRQ are threatening an inhibitor push.
It's going to be an inhibitor push right now. It's going to be Vin that's absorbing all the time. It's going to be cracked open from the south side, but Edward goes the ball. It's way too much for the RRQ. Blacklist, Blacklist, they need to do something. What is it? Throwing punch, not a good idea. It's RRQ, takes game number 1.
Oh my God.
The King of Kings draw first blood here in Tennis Indoor Sinayan. 1-0 in a best of 5. That match did not disappoint, ladies and gentlemen. The Kingdom roaring. They asked for more, and just like that, we've reached an all-time high PCU for M4. That's 3 million, 3.1 viewers all around the world.
That is insane, man. You don't want to miss it. This is the match we've been talking about. And